After 49 years, the mystery about Sal Mineo has finally been resolved, and everything is even worse than we thought. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine a guy from the Bronx, Sal Mineo, who once made the hearts of millions of audiences flutter with his tormented role as Plato in the classic film Rebel Without a Cause. This story is not just about the tragic death of a Hollywood star, but also about a journey of a life full of brilliant talent, complicated and painful romances, and mysterious shadows lurking behind the glittering lights. Because the truth is sometimes more dramatic and heartbreaking than any Hollywood script ever written, making us wonder, are we really ready to face it? First, let me take you back in time to the 1930s, a period when America was struggling with the aftermath of the Great Depression and immigrant families from Europe were trying to build new lives on this promised land. Sal Mineo, full name Salvatore Mineo Jr., was born on January 10, 1939 in the Bronx, New York, a vibrant but challenging working-class neighborhood. He was the son of Sicilian immigrants from Italy. His father, Salvatore Mineo Sr., was a coffin maker, and his mother, Josephine, was a strong woman who cared for a family of 4 children, Michael, Victor, Serena, and little S. Can you imagine a boy growing up in a cramped apartment, where children's laughter mixed with the sound of hammers nailing coffins from his father's workshop? It was not an easy childhood, but those circumstances forged a resilient Sal Mineo full of passion. From a young age, Sal showed an innate talent for performing. He often recounted that instead of playing on the streets like other kids in the Bronx, he preferred acting in front of the mirror, imitating the movie stars he saw on the silver screen. His parents, despite being busy with work, recognized their son's potential and encouraged him to pursue the arts. By the age of 10, S had his first opportunity to step onto a professional stage. That was in 1949 when he was cast as the Crown Prince in the famous Broadway musical The King and I, alongside the legendary actor Sal Mineo. Imagine an Italian boy with big round brown eyes and a radiant smile standing on the Broadway stage, the center of the American theater world at that time. The play not only brought S thunderous applause, but also honed his acting skills, teaching him about discipline and professionalism. Sal Mineo, with his strong appearance and deep voice, became an unofficial mentor to S, guiding him on how to control emotions on stage. Those years, though brief, laid the foundation for S's career, transforming the boy from the Bronx into a promising young talent. But Broadway was just a stepping stone. Hollywood was the real destination. Then in 1955, at the age of 16, Sal Mineo had the biggest turning point in his life. He was chosen by director Nicholas Ray for the role of John Plato Crawford in the classic film Rebel Without a Cause alongside James Dean, the rebellious guy who became an icon for the American youth generation in the 1950s. Do you still remember that film? It was a story about lost teenagers in post-war society, full of loneliness, longing for love, and rebellion against family constraints. Sal's role as Plato was a sensitive teenager, abandoned by his parents, seeking protection from Jim Stark, played by James Dean. S acted with deep emotion and subtlety, portraying the character's inner pain so realistically that it brought audiences to tears. The chemistry between S and James Dean on screen was something truly explosive. Scenes where Plato looks at Jim with eyes full of admiration and longing, now interpreted by many modern critics as a breakthrough symbol for hidden gay youth. In 1950s cinema, it was a time when American society was full of prejudices, full of oppression toward the LGBTQ+ community, and bringing such images to the screen was a progressive gesture, even if not stated directly. With the role of Plato, Sal Mineo received an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor, becoming one of the youngest actors ever honored at this prestigious award. That nomination was not only proof of Sal's talent, but also turned him into a true teen idol. Can you imagine young girls lining up outside movie theaters screaming Sal Mineo's name and sending thousands of love letters to the studio? But behind that glamour, S began to feel the pressure of fame. James Dean, his and perhaps a great inspiration, died suddenly in a car accident just a few months after the film was completed, leaving S with profound sadness. He once shared in later interviews that Dean's death made him realize the fragility of life in Hollywood, where success can come quickly, but can also vanish in the blink of an eye. In the following years, Sal Mineo continued to shine on the silver screen. In 1956, he starred in Giant alongside Elizabeth Taylor and Rock Hudson, an epic film about life in Texas, where S played a Mexican laborer, showcasing his versatility and acting. That same year, Crime in the Streets gave him the role of a street teenager, full of anguish and rebellion, reinforcing the rebel boy image built by Rebel Without a Cause by 1959. The Gene Krupa story allowed S to portray the legendary jazz drummer, Gene Krupa, a role that required not only acting but also musical skills. His handsome, brooding appearance with jet black hair and deep eyes, along with his captivating vulnerability, all made S favored by directors for roles requiring emotional depth. But the second peak came in 1960 with the film Exodus, directed by Otto Preminger. In the film, Sal played Dov Landor, a Jewish Holocaust survivor who joined the struggle to establish the State of Israel. That role was full of inner torment, from the pain of loss to the thirst for revenge, and S delivered an outstanding performance, earning his second Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor. Exodus was not just a historical film, but also a statement on human rights, and Sal's role contributed to its weight. However, even at the height of fame, Sal Mineo still faced major challenges as he grew older, no longer fitting teen rebel roles. Hollywood began to sideline him. The film industry at that time was full of prejudices, and rumors about Sal's homosexuality spread widely in the 1950s-1960s. Homosexuality was a taboo subject. Many stars like Rock Hudson had to hide themselves to maintain their careers. S, on the other hand, chose to live authentically in his private life. He was one of the few male actors who dared to be open, even if it meant risking career suicide. He refused to conform to the heterosexual masculine standards imposed by Hollywood, and as a result, major roles gradually diminished. Can you feel that pain? A young talent twice nominated for an Oscar, now struggling to find a place. But S did not surrender. He turned to theater and directing, proving his versatility and resilience. Let's talk about that transition in more detail. By the late 1960s, Sal participated in and directed several plays, most notably Fortune and Men's Eyes in Los Angeles, a controversial play about sexuality and violence in prison. That play was not just theater but also a social statement, touching on topics that American society at the time was still hesitant to discuss. S showed true courage, not afraid to face criticism to bring authentic stories. By the early 1970s, S was determined to reinvent himself as a serious artist beyond the teen idol image. In December 1972, he made a bold leap into the world of opera by directing the stage production of The Medium, a haunting short opera composed by Giancarlo Menotti. The production was held in Detroit, and this was a significant departure from his previous mainstream film roles. In the opera, S not only directed but also played Toby, the tormented mute servant, alongside contralto singer Muriel Costa Greenspan as Madame Flora, a fraudulent medium full of troubles. Can you picture the scene? Opera music echoing S acting, without dialogue, only through gestures and facial expressions. It was a role he approached with seriousness and deep introspection, emphasizing his desire to challenge audiences and move beyond his youthful image. The Medium was not only an artistic success but also proof of S's multifaceted talent. From cinema to musical theater, Sal's passion for dark, complex characters continued in 1975 when he returned to television with a chilling role in NBC's popular mystery series, Columbo, in the gripping episode titled A Case of Immunity. Sal played Rahman Habib, an assistant to a ruthless and manipulative consular official from a fictional Middle Eastern country, played by Hector Alzunda. The episode was filled with political intrigue, with twists involving crime and diplomatic immunity, and Sal's nuanced performance reminded audiences of his range and depth as a character actor, far from the vulnerable teenagers he once played. Habib was a scheming man, and S brought the necessary tension to the story. That same year, he appeared in a memorable guest role in the popular crime series SWAT. In this disturbing episode, Sal took on the role of a charismatic but dangerous cult leader with delusional ideology and hypnotic control over his followers, evoking clear parallels to the infamous Charles Manson. It was a bold role, tapping into American society's lingering fears about manipulative figures hiding behind utopian facades. Once again, Sal proved his willingness to handle provocative material that many other actors might avoid. These television roles, though not blockbusters, helped S maintain his presence in the entertainment industry and prepare for a bigger comeback. And then in 1976, Sal Mineo's career began to experience a promising resurgence after years of struggling with the industry's reluctance. He received critical acclaim for his fearless performance as a bisexual thief in the black comedy stage play P.S. Your Cat is Dead.